Welcome, all my fellow Washington brethren and sistren. I am your man and resident Washington football team fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Washington Football Report, an exclusive Washington Football Report, as we continue our limited exclusive series, Positional Rankings. We've talked about every single position on the offensive side of the football. Now let's jump to where we think we're going to be a little bit more dominant in terms of our standings inside the division and overall in the league. We start with our strongest position. No surprises here. Washington is the best in the NFC East. I will tell you where they rank in the entire NFL, but let's jump into where the Washington football team ranks in the division and why. We take a look at all the teams in the division, and we start with the team that I think brings up the rear in the division, in the Dallas Cowboys. Now, it was splitting hairs between the Cowboys and the third place team in the division as to which one went last and which one went third. I chose the Cowboys last because you look at their defensive line, and that's on the left. So their defensive ends, on the left. And they've got two guys that you really think are uber talented and could be difference makers in DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory. But the problem is Gregory is inconsistent. You can't count on him. You don't know what you're going to get from him. He's been suspended multiple times. So you don't want to rely on Randy Gregory. And DeMarcus Lawrence, he's hit or miss. Either he's dominant or he's quiet as a mouse. So when you look at the rest of the guys in that defensive end room, there aren't anybody else. There aren't any other guys that really scare you now. I think Bradley Anae has some talent. I think Terrell Basham, who they just signed as a free agent, coming off the best year of his career, only 3.5 sacks, but that was a guy that I really liked coming out of Ohio. I think he's a guy that may be able to help them, but none of those guys scare you in that room outside of Lawrence and potentially Randy Gregory. Now you go to their defensive tackle side of things, and there's nothing here. I mean, somebody's got to step up in this room and become the alpha. They don't have an alpha in this room right now. Neville Gallimore is a solid defender, but he doesn't scare you. You're not game planning to stop Neville Gallimore. I thought Tristan Hill would be that guy when they drafted him out of UCF. He hasn't materialized into what I thought he was going to be coming out of college. And so they drafted Osa Odigizua. And we'll see if he's able to do something for them or not. But nobody scares you in that room because of the lack of defensive oomph in the D tackle room, because the Cowboys got gutted on the ground last year, and they were inconsistent getting after the quarterback. So it was a double whammy. Because there isn't an alpha in their D tackle room, that's why they're coming in last in the division on the defensive line. As we transition to the team that I have third in the division on the defensive line, that's the New York Giants. And the reason the Giants are in third is they've got the second best interior defensive lineman in the division. Okay, number one is Fletcher Cox. Number two is Leonard Williams. And he's so dominant that the strength of Leonard Williams is what propelled them to third, or they'd be the worst in the division. But you look at the depth of their room at defensive tackle, look on the right side. They've got Leonard Williams, they've got Dexter Lawrence, they've got B.J. Hill, and they just added Danny Shelton. So they're extremely deep on the defensive line. Now, the only guy that can get pressure on the quarterback of that group is really Leonard Williams, but that's okay. They're stopping the run. You're not going to run the football very effectively against that unit right there. As you look to the left side, they've got all of these guys listed as linebackers, but a lot of these guys, because they play a 3-4 defense, a lot of these guys are essentially edge rushers. They're going to be coming after the quarterback and playing against the run as essentially defensive linemen and an extension of the D-line. So you got to be able to differentiate between what those guys' responsibilities are going to be and who are the guys that are true linebackers. So they've got a bunch of guys that you just don't know. I mean, Carter Coughlin is pretty much an edge rusher. Tate Crowder is a guy that can get after the quarterback, but he's not as much of an edge rusher. But then you look at some of these other guys here. Lorenzo Carter can rush off the edge. Azeez Ojulari is the guy that they drafted to get after the quarterback now. That's a guy that, and Ellerson Smith also, another guy that they're hoping maybe gives them something off the edge, gives them a little juice there. This is a group here that has been underwhelming to this point, and they need some production out of someone coming off the edge. They don't have anyone right now that scares you coming off the edge, getting to the quarterback. And that's why they're third. They don't have anything right now that is of substance coming off the edge. They hope Azeez Ojulari is the answer there. But right now, Leonard Williams is the only guy that scares you in their front seven, technically. But along that defensive line, that's the guy that right now they're hoping. Outside of Leonard Williams, Azeez Ojulari is the guy they want to step up. But they've got nothing out there. But at least they've got Leonard Williams. And that's what got them to number 3 in the division for me. Now, the number 2 team is the Philadelphia Eagles. And we talk about the Eagles, this and that. They're not talented here. They don't have that. I told you, I think the Eagles' roster woes have been greatly overstated. I don't think they're as bad as everyone thinks. I just think because their quarterback situation isn't great, and you couple that with some of the other areas on their team that aren't superior, I think that's what's going to ultimately doom them. But they've got talent, and this is one of those situations where you see it again. Now, obviously, Fletcher Cox is the best interior defensive lineman in the division, so that counts for something. But you look at the rest of that group, Javon Hargrave is good. They don't have a lot of guys in here that scare you on the left side with Fletcher Cox. You got the first 2 guys on that list, Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave, and then the rest of these guys are solid. They don't move the needle really. But it's the overall depth of this room. Similar to Washington, Washington has elite talent and depth overall on their defensive line, and that's why Washington is, to me, the clear favorite and leader in the clubhouse in the division. The Eagles are the next closest in terms of talent and a combination of depth behind the talent. When you look at their defensive line, none of these guys are game changers. Not a single one, but they have guys that they can throw at you in waves. Josh Sweat is a guy that's coming on. He had his best season of his career last year. Ryan Kerrigan, we know the old man, the elder statesman coming over from Washington. He's going to give them a little bit of depth in that room. You've got Brandon Graham, who might be their best pass rusher either when he's inside or outside. Brandon Graham is a problem and someone you have to deal with. Derek Barnett is solid. He doesn't really move the needle for me, but he's another guy that they can throw at you that can get after the quarterback. So you're talking about 4 guys really in that room that have some oomph, that has a little bit of juice off the edge that can produce something for you. And then they got this guy, Taron Jackson, in the draft this year out of Coastal Carolina that they hope can give them something. So this is a really quality room here for the Eagles overall. And because of that, they're second in the division. And I think they kind of separate themselves from the other 2 teams in the division in that regard. And so that takes us back to our home base and Washington. And to me, we've got the best defensive line in the division. It's not close. I think the Eagles are the next closest. I think it's Washington's defensive line, take 2 steps. The Eagles' defensive line, take another 2 steps. And then you get to the Giants and the Cowboys' defensive lines. We'll see if that holds up as the season nears and things play itself out. But with the depth that Washington has and the overall talent, when you spend 4 first-round picks on your defensive line as Washington has in Allen, Payne, Young, and Sweat, you should be. I can't say you're going to be. You should be the most talented defensive line in the division, which they are. These guys have proven to be quality, worthwhile first-round picks. And then the depth backing these guys up make us feel even better about our room. Tim Settle, obviously, Matt Ioannidis is a key reserve. And then I think the only thing we are lacking at this point with the loss of Kerrigan is depth at defensive end. They talked about that with, how it was hard to get free agents to commit here because they knew it wasn't going to be a bunch of snaps. If those guys are healthy, not going to be a bunch of snaps for you. at defensive end. So it's hard to convince a veteran to come here because you get paid based off of stats in this league, and you're not going to get 8.5 sacks coming off the bench in relief of Young or Sweat because those guys are going to be on the field for the bulk and majority of the snaps. So we don't have a ton of depth at defensive end, but I am very high on one of the 7th round picks, Shaka Toney, as you know. So I think that the depth will eventually prove to be there. But right now, that's the one area we're lacking. But just the overall talent and still depth is enough to push us out in front of everyone else. Where do we rank in the entire league? First. I didn't think we would be first in the league, but we're first in the division and we're first in the league. I looked at the entire league. Now, I will tell you that there are some teams that are close. I'll give you a few that were close. The Buffalo Bills, what they have on their defensive line is close, but they don't have any edge rushers. They're lacking. That's why they spent draft capital on the edge rushing position this year. They are hoping to really bolster that position. Inside, they've got some stuff. They've got a lot of good stuff. You know, Ed Oliver and Lulu Tule. They've got stuff inside. It's outside that's where they're lacking. The Panthers, they got a lot of stuff, man. They got Brian Burns. They got Yetur Gross Matos. And they got Derek Brown. That's 3 beef space eaters and rushers there that are really good in this league. They're young. They're hungry. However, they're not as talented as we are, and they don't have the depth overall like we do. The Bears, obviously Khalil Mack, Eddie Goldman, Akeem Hicks. That right there puts them in the discussion. But after those 3, they don't have the depth. They don't have the necessary oomph. They got Robert Quinn. I don't know how much he's got left. He was a big disappointment for them last season. If they get the Robert Quinn that was in Dallas 2 years ago and the Robert Quinn from St. Louis, they've got a chance. But I don't see that guy right now. So they didn't beat out Washington. I think the closest 2 teams were the Browns and the Bucks. Those were the 2 where I sat there and I said, man, I could really convince myself to go with that team over our team. First of all, Myles Garrett is the best pass rusher in football right now. He's the most destructive force off the edge. Now, if you're talking interior, obviously it's Aaron Donald, and to me, it's not close. But if you're talking pure edge rusher, off the edge, it's Myles Garrett, and his ability to kick inside and do damage there from a 3 technique is scary as well. But just the fact that they've got Garrett and now they also have Jadeveon Clowney gives them a 1-2 punch in a tandem that gives them a chance to rival Washington. The problem is they've got stuff inside, but their stuff inside isn't like our stuff inside. All right, we got animals and dogs inside. They got some guys inside, but their dogs sound like this. Our dogs, so that's why I gave us the nod. We got more depth than they do, but Myles Garrett is better than Chase Young right now. And Jadeveon Clowney, Sweat gets the nod there. So I think it was close enough that our defensive interior gave us the nod over them. And then you get to the Buccaneers. I look at what they have. They got a lot of stuff, man. Inside, they're nasty. They got Ndamukong Suh. He's old, though. They got William Golson. He's getting up there in age as well. But they've got Vita Vea. He's a stud, and he's young. So that's all inside. Then you go outside. Obviously, they got Shaq Barrett. They got JPP. They just drafted Joe Tryon. They got stuff, man. They got some shit. They got guns and shit. However, our guns are younger. Our guns are more explosive and dynamic. Now, if you're going off the numbers, Shaq Barrett had 20 sacks 2 years ago. Shaq Barrett had another 13 or 14 sacks last year. We ain't got shit for him. All right. However, I expect Chase Young and Montez Sweat to take that leap this year. JPP is really good, but I think our guys are better than him. So I gave us the nod there. It was close. I mean, if you argued that the Buccaneers are better, I would listen to that argument. Okay. But at the end of the day, those were the 2 teams that to me were the closest. You also had some other teams that had some solid arguments to be made for them. The Steelers are a team you look at with Stephon Tuitt and Cam Hayward and TJ Watt. They're interesting. They don't have enough, but they're interesting. The 49ers, obviously, with Boza and they have Eric Armstead, and they also have Javon Kinlaw. They were interesting, but when it's all said and done, it's hard to compete with 4 first-round picks and then the depth that we have inside with Ioannidis and Settle. I think the depth outside could have gotten us if someone had the depth outside. Like if Tampa had a true backup after the 2 guys off the edge, if they had another guy that you were scared of, that might have been enough to push them, because we just don't have that depth right now. But neither does Tampa. So I still give us the nod. So we're number 1 in the league in the division, we're number 1 in the division, and we're number 1 overall in the league. There's a lot of pressure being put on this defensive line, but that's what happens when you draft this many first-round picks, and the talent is there, and you see it. We saw it last year, and that was without Ioannidis. Getting him back is huge. I'm putting all of the onus on this defensive line to be the catalyst that drives this defense to being one of the best in the league. A lot of people think this defense is going to be really good. The reason they feel that way is because of this defensive line. They've got to step up, and they've got to be the reason that Washington wins 2 or 3 games this season, because they just take over games with sheer, pure domination. They're that good. They need to show it. That's why they're ranked number 1 on my list. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. If you haven't already done so, please do me a huge favor and subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss a thing, and also hit that like button, as it helps this channel grow immensely. I am a Washington fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to our beloved Washington football team. More of these videos will be on the horizon until we finish every single positional group. We've got 3 left: linebackers, corners, safeties. Be on the lookout for the remainder of this series. Until next time, I'm your man Louie T. You guys have a good one.